Good evening. I'm Emmeline Martin, the Jet Setting Fashionista, and I'm so excited to be here this evening celebrating Women's International Day with Hailey Hartford Murray of Hartford Family Wines. I am just going to give her a moment to join the feed. Oh, hi! I'm already seeing familiar faces. This is my favorite part. It's like at your birthday party when your friends start showing up. So let me just invite her to join us, and we will be right back. In the meantime, I would love to know what you guys are sipping on. We are obviously sipping on a Chardonnay and a Pinot from Hartford Family Wines. So hopefully you have something just as delicious in your glasses. Okay, so those of you, I'm curious who's familiar with Hartford Family Wines because you're going to be learning a lot tonight about them. I can't remember, Hailey and I were talking about this when I first met them. I think it's been, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And, okay, here's Hailey. All right, I will stop blabbing and let her join the fun. Oh, good. Nikita, you love Hartford. Oh, hello, Hailey. There you are.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great. As usual, there's always that technical glitch the first minute or two getting on live, especially on a day like this when everybody else is on. It's like we're competing on the Instagram airwaves.
Yeah, how true. I know it's an exciting day, so I'm sure it's been really fun to see all of the different interviews throughout the day and activations. So excited that I get to celebrate with you tonight.
I know. Lucky me. Thank you for joining me. I feel very privileged to sit down with you. I was telling you when I first went to Hartford Family Winery, I met your uncle, and it truly feels like such a family-owned operation. So, as an entrepreneur and daughter of entrepreneurial parents, it's always nice to get to share other family stories.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it is a family affair.
Yeah. So I guess let's begin with the beginning. So Hartford Family Wines, can we share a little bit more with our viewers about the brand, the background, and your involvement in your new role?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I was just recently promoted to president of Hartford Family Winery, and it's a winery that my parents started in '94, so over 25 years ago now, and based in Russian River Valley, focused on single vineyard designated wines in particular, and Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Old Vine Zinfandel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're actually, I don't want people at home to not get to hear what we're drinking and sipping on together.
Yeah.
We will be drinking two very special wines. We are starting with the Jennifer's Chardonnay, correct?
Yes, exactly. Named after my mother.
Gosh, what do I have to do to get a vineyard or a wine named after me? I guess I have to marry someone that owns a vineyard.
Well, I don't know. We can talk afterwards.
Yeah, seriously. I forget which winery. Someone has an Elizabeth Cuvée. Oh, Bia Carte Salmon has an Elizabeth Cuvée, which was the original salmon. It was like Elizabeth salmon. So I feel like there's like a connection there, but I have no relation, fortunately, to Bia Carte Salmon.
Yeah. That's great though. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful Chardonnay. So I'm glad that we were able to pour it today, and especially for International Women's Day, celebrating strong women. I couldn't think of a stronger woman than my own mom. So
Yay, cheers to Elizabeth. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm a really big fan of your winemaker. I guess the second time I was at your winery, Jeff hosted me and we sat outside in your beautiful gardens with, the water feature. And he is very talented.
Yes.
Even though it's Women's Day, we can still talk about him because we're drinking one of his beautiful products from your mom's vineyard.
Yeah, exactly. No, we are very lucky that we have an amazing, incredible, talented winemaker in Jeff Stewart, and then we actually have two winemakers, Tian Lorden as well, and they're an incredible team. And this vineyard in particular is just, I think, a stunning example of their work. And I know that they joke that, because our winemaking philosophy is to really highlight the distinctive character of each vineyard site, and in some ways they jokingly say they have to just step out of the way and let the vineyard tell its story.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes into making sure that they're doing everything they can to really highlight everything we love most about that site and the person.
Let's talk about this site. I don't know if I've been to Jennifer's Vineyard because the wine's delicious. And, I don't want to say it's like rich, but it has a little bit of richness and fullness, but not overpowering. And then there's that acidity kick and a bit of apple and fruit. So yeah, I know this is in the Russian River. What else can you tell us about it?
It's from the southernmost part of Russian River, so it's a pretty interesting area. It's like right on the edge of the Petaluma wind gap, so the wind tunnels through this site. It's one of the coldest, most windswept sites within Russian River. So the grapes actually, in order to survive all that buffeting, they still have these super thick skins, so you get a little bit richer palate like you're describing, and there is almost like a an oiliness, like a lemon oil, a candied citrus note to it.
Salinity. I love that word.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really beautiful and very bold. It's a statement wine.
Well, we're statement women celebrating ourselves today. So I think this is a very wait until they hear the next wine we're drinking, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. So yeah, so Hartford, for those that aren't familiar with it, you guys are, like you were sort of hinting at, you want to show the single vineyard expressions. And so all of the wines you make are single vineyards?
The majority are single vineyards. We do make 3 Russian River Valley blends, which are blends of each of a majority of our state-owned vineyard sites. And the intent with those are to create a wine that is really representative of everything we love most of the region of the as a whole of Russian River Valley. So we make a Russian River Valley Chardonnay, Pinot, and Old Vine Zinfandel. And then we do actually have 2 other wines that are 2 vineyard blends, our Land's Edge Pinot Noir and our Four Hearts Chardonnay. But the vast majority are single vineyard.
Well, and I was perusing your wines because I taste you. I was telling you I had you guys at the Russian River, the Poly dinner this spring, whatever month that was, at Bricola, and Jeff was pouring. And I mean, there's always something that I'm like, oh my God, that was so good, I need more. I mean, I always love them, but then there's that like outlier that I use the expression that I could drink a bottle of by myself.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what we're striving to do. We want to make wines that are, I think I've said this already, but distinct from one another, unique. And we don't expect that everyone's, we think they're all delicious, but we don't expect that each single one is going to be everyone's favorite. They're not supposed to be,
right.
It's all. And so, we tend to look for sites and basically, our passion for finding these little vineyards that are really influenced by the climate, the terroir, sun exposure, all of that has driven us to expand our portfolio. So when we started, we were only making, I think, 4 single vineyard wines, and now we make 30, or over 30.
Wow.
Yeah. And all the way up to Oregon and as far down south as Santa Barbara too. So
I was just in Santa Barbara for World of Pinot Noir. Those grapes are beautiful down there as well.
Yeah, exactly. It is a beautiful site.
Great. Well, yeah. And I was looking back and trying to remember. I remember I had the Seascape Pinot Noir with a visit with Jeff, which is way Sonoma. Is that like by Annapolis, if I remember correctly?
Yeah. So that one is actually, that one is just due west of Occidental. And then the Far Coast Chardonnay is, as you're remembering, all the way up towards Annapolis. And it's, it's like a 2-hour drive to get there because you're going windy roads and
Yeah, I actually went up there. I was visiting Pay, and I saw a sign. I'm like, oh my God, Hartford's there? Like, because it's always fun to sort of try to piece together where the different vineyards are from, the winery friends you like to enjoy. So I've driven by your vineyard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we have vineyards up there too.
So let's talk about, I was doing my homework and I listened to Kristen Reitzel this afternoon, and she was talking about female winemakers. And apparently the industry average is about 15% of the industry are female winemakers. And your family, Jackson Family Wines, has 50%. Is that correct?
No, I was actually, having lived the experience of interacting with all of our wonderful winemakers, of them so accomplished too, I wasn't aware that wasn't the reality for the industry. It is, it's really exciting to have such amazing women working with us. Yeah,
no, I thought it was really cool. I was like, I think my last week's newsletter, I highlighted, 10 winemakers I know and adore. And then today's was like female chefs to know. So this month, it's the perfect excuse to just celebrate all the badass, excuse my language, women in wine, in food, in business. And I think, being a female leader, it's really nice when we get to, support other females and prop them up and just celebrate them.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, it's interesting. I was just reflecting too, on today and everything it means. And I actually attended a women's college, Scripps College. And that was my first experience, in an all women or majority women environment, at least. And it was, it was surprising to me to see how much that matters. You know, having a community of really strong women around you to reflect, you know, what you could do and inspire you further. So I think having these experiences and being able to continue to see women taking, you know, bigger positions and striving for their goals is really exciting. And I feel very fortunate to have so many wonderful role models.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was reading about your background. So let's talk about it. So I mean, I get so jealous when I talk to people that grew up in winemaking. You know, they're like running through Zinfandel vineyards as a kid. So obviously you grew up in the industry, and then I know you spent some time abroad studying. Can you give a little bit of an overview? Because you have quite an impressive background.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I actually, when I was younger, I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I still love animals. So I have a biology degree, and so winemaking in that way is really fascinating to me, of course. But I grew up in Russian River Valley, and as you said, on a Zinfandel vineyard. I was lucky enough to grow up with the 100-year-old grandpa vines in the backyard. And then went to college, as I said, and studied biology. But ended up, after graduating, I was sort of taking a little time, a couple of summer courses that I needed to get out of the way before I applied to vet school, and then ended up deciding to work a harvest alongside my now husband. And
I don't know if that's in your bio. That's a fun twist. Okay.
Yeah. And actually, you know, it was interesting because he was living in Florida at the time, and I basically told him, oh, well, you can come work a harvest with me. And I think he had this beautiful, like, romantic, you know, vision of what wine country and, you know, winemaking was like. And quickly we learned it was, you know, sweat and grape juice. You know,
and a lot of cleaning of the tanks. That's my summary of winemaking, if anyone has never been to harvest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a wonderful experience. So we still liked each other at the end of it. And really that was sort of what cemented for me. I always knew that I was going to be interested in coming back to the winery, but you know, from then on, it was just really too exciting to give up. So
yeah. I mean, and what is it like? I mean, you're also a mother. You're a mother of two. You just had a little baby.
Yeah.
So let's discuss some of the challenges. I mean, opportunities and challenges. I have a dog, and I think that keeps my hands full. So I'm always very impressed by women that are presidents and have husbands and children and family members and that do it all. So how do you do it?
Yeah. Well,
any tips for the listeners at home?
Yeah, well, I think it's been really interesting that it's, you know, challenging in ways that I didn't expect it to be, and easier in others that I thought would be more difficult. So, you know, I'm very lucky. You know, again, I was reflecting on, you know, I'm very fortunate to have some really incredible men in my life that are very supportive alongside the women, and so my husband being one of them. Yeah. And, you know, being a great partner to help to care for our children, and you know, and really allow each of us to pursue, you know, our independent careers. But besides that, you know, I think, you know, keeping a balance is hard, you know, no matter, you know, what position you're working in. And I think it takes a village.
So what I love. Some people have like these fun rules. I mean, as a blogger, we always get a bad rap, you know, you always try on your phone. And I don't know, a few years ago, I was like, I am not going to be that blogger that during every meal is like, I used to post real time. So I was like, oh my God, they're hosting me. This is a media visit. I have to. And then I was like, okay, whether I post at like 7:30 during dinner or like 9 after dinner, I usually do it in the mornings that I've had a fresh night of sleep. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. And then the people that are with me enjoy my company more, and I'm just like present. So do you have a policy after dinner? You turn your cell phone off, no cell phones in the bedrooms. I know a lot of people that don't even put their phone in the bedrooms. They use an old-fashioned alarm. I'm always curious for tips and tricks.
Yeah. I should probably create the no phone in the bedroom rule for myself. I haven't yet, but yeah, no, I mean, I think being, like you're speaking to, you know, being able to turn off work, and especially in a family-run business, it's more difficult in some ways because it's all part of one and the same. You know, you end up having business conversations at the dinner table, but there's something really, I guess, rewarding about that too, I think. And so I think it's a choice that someone has to make. You have to really love working with your family, and also be able to know when you need to turn that business dial on and up and down or on and off.
Yeah. Oh, I work with my family business as well, so I could totally relate. Sometimes I call my dad for a catch up, and then I'm like, "Oh, you didn't respond to this email." So I'm for sure guilty of it as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have a great question. Well, I'm pretty sure Latina Hollywood is not asking me my favorite wine, because I think we all know I'm probably going to say Pinot Noir. So let's ask you, Hailey, what's your favorite wine?
Sure. Oh gosh. Well, if we had to do varietals, I guess Pinot Noir as well. You know, it's so hard to pick. I mean, how do you really pick? It's the mood. But I do love our Pinot Noirs. It's probably what I drink most. Yeah. And then from there, if I had to narrow it down to a Vineyard, Arundel is one of my favorites. It's our flagship, our Vineyard. So, and that's just within our own portfolio. And gosh, there's too many wines out in the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, and I have one workaround for this answer. I say Pinot Noir, but then I'm like, well, I also love Champagne and Chardonnay. And Champagne is made of Champagne or Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Right. So it sort of all just, works itself out. But yeah. Although speaking of varietals, I think I got some really good advice this weekend. I had the pleasure of interviewing Ray Isle of Food and Wine magazine.
I caught a little bit of that interview.
I'm still on cloud nine. Like, Ray, I love you. I'll see you at Aspen Food and Wine. We had an internal joke. I don't know if I'm going. I'm on the media wish list. But and he said a good tip. He said, you know what? It's probably best to not always drink what you know really well and what you drink all the time. And I'm like, oh my God, have I been doing it wrong all these years? Always ordering my favorite Pinot Noir on the wine list. So that gave me some food for thought. Yeah. And maybe like once a weekend I'll get out of my comfort zone, and then once a week I'll stay in my comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good advice, whether it's wine or life, I guess, it's important to sort of stretch yourself.
Yeah. So speaking of stretching yourselves, I'm curious, like what's in the pipeline? What should we expect? Anything? Yeah. What's Hartford up to? What's going on in Hartford in the next 2 to 5 years?
We do have some sparkling wines coming up. They're going to be very, very small production, and they've been in the works for years now. So that'll be exciting in the next upcoming year. But then besides that, I sort of said already, we can't really help ourselves. We keep finding these really incredible vineyards, and we typically what we do is we'll bring the vineyard, the grapes, into the winery for a couple of years and make the wine and really see, are these characteristics that make this wine so delicious and exciting? Are they really, a one-off because of the vintage? It was just an incredible vintage, or are they really consistent year to year? And if we find that they're consistent, then, we're all sort of kicking ourselves like, do we really need another Pinot Noir in the portfolio? And we say, okay, yeah, we do.
Well, if you have 30, always.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pinot Noir, I don't want to neglect and ignore our warrior princess. But this name, there's no ignoring a warrior princess. Do you want to share a little bit more about this, Hailey?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a Pinot Noir from the Xena Crown Vineyard up in Eola, Amity Hills, Oregon. And it's a vineyard that's owned by our family, by our extended family. And we feel really lucky to get a couple of blocks off of this vineyard site. But the name, there was Xena Crown, but I don't know how many of your viewers will be familiar with the 90s show, Xena Warrior Princess. But if you can envision, it was the 90s television series about this warrior woman who, I guess you would envision like Wonder Woman, dressed just as similarly and kicking just as much butt. And growing up, it was one of the shows that my parents and I actually, and my brother, as he became a little older, would actually really all enjoy watching together. And so it was her and her sidekick, who is a petite blonde gal, who I had a lot of affinity with.
That's me. I'm her.
Yeah. So they were just really strong and powerful gals. And so when we saw the name of the vineyard and we were thinking of making our own wine from it, it just seemed like the perfect fit for a name for it. So, and in terms of our naming of the wines, we typically like to tell a story about the place or the people involved in making the wine, or some quality to the wine, a descriptor. And in this case, the Pinot Noir is in some ways I think Jeff, our winemaker, likes to describe it, like the velvet covered fist. There's really beautiful structure to this wine, but it's in a really velvety, silken sort of package. So it's got some really pretty lush tannins, but a lot of interesting herbality. There's some juniper and violet on the nose as well. And so it's just a really pretty dichotomy of wines.
Yeah.
And I think a really exciting example of
yeah. And I mean, I've been drinking Xena Crown Pinot from your family for a while now. And I actually went to the Willamette Valley. I finally got up there. I have been talking for years. And finally during like shelter in place, I was like, okay, if I can't fly anywhere, I'm going to drive to wine country.
Yeah.
So I drove from San Francisco to Seattle, to Willamette Valley. And yeah, it's so cool out there. It has this like, I mean, I think Sonoma's down to earth, at least, parts of it. Well, it's like everything, you got, I mean, I live in Healdsburg and I'd say Healdsburg's down to earth, but we also have our fancy parts as well.
Right.
But, Oregon, it just, everything was like spread out. And I was like driving to like Grand Moraine and I don't know, it was just, it was gorgeous. I need like another week in Oregon to just even absorb, because I did 10 wineries in 3.5 days, which was great. But I just wanted to like, unfortunately, my visits are not like as calm and relaxing as this. I like roll in, I take photos, I drink, I talk to people, but it's not like I'm sitting down and having a glass of wine with a girlfriend for 2 hours, just gabbing and taking it all in.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a really bucolic, beautiful area. And like you're saying, there's something sort of grassroots feel about it. It's a really beautiful community, wine growing community up there. And we feel really lucky to be able to work with the Vineyard team that we do. We end up, because we have, just total trust in their skills, we're able to be a little less, we can be distant physically distant and still in really close contact with them about the wines. And the Vineyard team is just fantastic. So we're really lucky to get the grapes from that site. But the people who are living up there in Oregon and Willamette are just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really I need to spend some more time sharing those stories, because I enjoyed my 3 or 4 days there, and I need to go to IPNC. Do you guys participate in that?
For Hartford, I'm not sure if we do actually, but yeah.
I know. I'll see Ray at Aspen Food and Wine, and I'll see you at IPNC.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So what do we want to tell everybody about this Pinot, in case you guys are not sipping it at home, besides the fabulous name, Warrior Pinot Blanc? I mean,
single vineyard, like I said, there's only, so on the back of each of our labels, and our single vineyards are very small production too. I guess I should say they average about 300 cases. So this one.
Oh yeah. I love it. That has it, the 344 here.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see right on the bottle, sort of the size of the vineyard. And so we don't make a lot of this. We make, let me say it this way. We make a lot of single vineyards, but we don't make a lot of them. Yeah. So, in any case, it's really a pretty example. But as I was saying, I think there's a lot of really pretty fruit to balance that herbality to it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
it's
really
beautiful.
nice.
I feel like I want pizza to pair with it tonight. That could be perfect.
Yeah.
So speaking of Healdsburg, I want to make sure everybody knows where to find you guys, because you have your winery in Forestville, correct?
Yes, exactly. I always encourage people to come to. There's nothing like getting to the source of things. But as you
get to the source of things, allow a lot. I mean, a lot of time it's beautiful. It's very relaxing and zen. Yeah. And if for any reason you don't have that much time, or you just like don't want to leave Healdsburg during your 24 48 hour weekend stay, luckily they have a tasting room in downtown Healdsburg, so you can visit the Hartford tasting room or the Hartford winery, both of which I need to get into the tasting room. I've never been. I've always gone to the winery.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I mean it is so pretty out here, but it is a really nice space, and we're right off the square of Healdsburg, right across from Dry Creek Kitchen, so it's very conveniently located.
Amazing location. You are actually just next door to this amazing new sandwich shop, or 2 doors down, Troubadour guys. That's a foodie tip. They just opened. It's the Quail and the Condor, husband and wife, Melissa and Sean, and it's amazing. They're not open Tuesday, Wednesdays. I've made that mistake. So go to Hartford, get a little wine in your tummy, go get a sandwich. And I mean, there's so much good food in Healdsburg. Like even before I lived there, all I wanted to do was write about it.
Yeah, I bet. No, Healdsburg is a beautiful town. We love being able to go up there ourselves. So.
Yeah. So what are you going to be drinking this evening as you celebrate the rest of International Women's Day when you and I part ways?
Yeah, I'll continue sipping on these, but then I might try to dig into our portfolio of other wines and the whole rest of the wine world and see what I have in my cellar. It's not a very extensive one, we joke sometimes, the cobbler's, children have no shoes, the winemaker's daughter has no wine. I think we drink it too quickly to be able to.
Well, you probably have already done this. This is what a lot of my winemaker or vintner friends do. They say that the birth year of their children, they put like their favorite case of wine in the cellar for their weddings. So have you done that yet? And if not, you should.
Yeah, well, actually, we need to figure out something for my daughter who was just born last year. But for my son, my husband was actually working in the winery, helping with the harvest that year. And so he made his own like little barrel of Pinot Noir that we put in bottle for my son. So I think we've got to make sure that we honor our daughter.
Let's give your daughter the same special treatment and,
especially right? International.
Good. Well, so everybody, if you are not in Healdsburg and you're looking for these wines, you can also get them online, obviously, at hartfordwines.com.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And you're also sold at some, other retailers as well. I'm Total Wine. I'm sure you're in some of, the big spots. Yeah. And I would definitely encourage, though, plan a visit to the winery. And yeah, it's so sweet. Maybe you'll get to meet Hailey's uncle when you're there. That's what I did the first time. And I was like, what? You're a Hartford? I felt like I had met royalty.
Yeah. Well, he's very charming too. So
very sweet. Yeah.
And actually my brother has just started working in the tasting room as well. So you might get to meet a couple of Hartfords when you come out.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Yeah. Oh, good. I forgot to mention, we had a really, really, really sweet comment earlier about someone that had their wedding with you guys or your wines at their wedding.
Oh, good.
So sip and savor. How amazing. She said, thank you. Her family and wedding guests enjoyed your wines at her wedding.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I'm so glad they were able to.
Yeah, you have great taste. I wish I was at that wedding.
Yeah,
okay, yes, we would like a cheers. That's a great one, Robert. To all the mothers that have inspired their daughters to achieve greatness. I feel like he might be talking about us. I'm a dog mother, but
yeah.
And the other mothers,
Exactly. All mothers of all kind, whether natural mothers or not, right? Sometimes we have
that.
Or just, yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, I would love to get a photograph of you and I. So if you guys happen to have missed this will be on my Instagram TV channel. I think that Hartford will also be sharing it. And it'll also be on my YouTube channel, Jet Setting Fashionista. So for those of you that just tuned in the last couple minutes and want to hear this interview and wine tasting from the beginning, don't worry. But yeah, I need a cute picture of us to post.
Sure. Yeah.
This is always the hard part. I'm warning you, there's usually technical difficulties. Okay. Cheese. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to do a selfie. I accidentally shut. Okay, let's try one more time. This is where I need an assistant, to like take a photo for me.
Yeah.
Assistant, maybe? I guess my assistant's not listening. Okay. I have just arrived. We'll see about that. You can hold those too. Okay. Cheese. At the same time. Oh, yay! God,
great.
I love good interns. Okay, well, thank you so much, Hailey.
Yeah,
I think we covered everything. Unless I forgot anything, is there anything else we should share with the group?
No, cheers to everyone. Thank you so much for coming and joining. It was wonderful to meet with you, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I know it's been a few years. Thank you for starting off your evening celebration with me and for sharing these beautiful wines. I'm going to be having a lovely night this evening and tomorrow night because I've got some time to finish these.
Exactly. Yeah, well, hope you have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.